this time, ladies and gentlemen, let me turn it over to our host with the most, Mr. Sahni.
Thank you very much, Michael Buffer. Much appreciated. What am I doing? What am I actually doing? What I am doing is trying this YouTube thing. I've set up a little thing here. I've got some photos, got some of the promoter passes, press passes and stuff over the years. That's my name from like a press conference. And I'm just going to give it a go. I love boxing. I work in boxing. I did that little intro thing at the start, which you've seen now, which is like me up at different press conferences doing different stuff. So I've been watching other people's YouTube channels. There's some great ones out there, all talking about boxing and other stuff. And I'm in the game, obviously. I've been working in boxing for 10 years or so, 11 years now. And I guess I just want to talk about boxing more. So like, share, subscribe. Is it if I put like the little ding thing there, click that? I'll probably forget to do it, to be honest. So I'm just pointing at stuff. But yeah, for those of you who know me, I'm Dev Sahni, and I'm in the game. I love the game, and I'm gonna talk to you about boxing. And where we are right now is we are 1 week away from Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley. So let's talk about that a little bit. It's one of the best fights that can be made in the heavyweight division, and I love it. And they're two really, really, really nice guys. I mean, Joe Parker, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything bad about Joe Parker. Now, I have about Fabio Wardley, not in a bad way, but just because obviously he boxed against David Adelaide, and him and David Adelaide were going back and forth, and Adelaide didn't like Wardley, so they had scuffles and stuff. But with Joe Parker, I mean, no one's ever said anything bad. You can't beef the guy. He's out here making like music videos. He's like doing Take That. He's doing Shania Twain. He's doing all sorts of stuff. How can you possibly dislike him? And I think that's kind of one of the things with the build up here. You've got two lovely, lovely fellas who aren't going to be calling each other names. Both super, super confident though. Both fancy it. Both think they're going to win, and both are going to bring pure entertainment at the first bell. So as much as like they haven't been chucking tables, they haven't been slapping each other, there is an underlying kind of tension. So at that launch press conference, I hosted that press conference, and it was a tad spikier than I thought. To be honest, I thought it was just going to be friendly, because they were on TalkSport earlier on in the week, and they were just like, they were a bit too nice. And then at the press conference, I thought it would be the same thing, but it was okay. I think Parker was quite spiky. He talked about levels in there, and he talked about, look, I'm not these other guys that Fabio Wardley has beaten. I'm Joseph Parker kind of thing, and I like that. I haven't watched the face-off yet that they've done with DAZN, but I look forward to it, and I just look forward to the fight. You've got Fabio Wardley, who is the 2025 version of Deontay Wilder. He is doing things. He just reminds me of Wilder so much. And it's not even like he's just throwing like wild punches or anything like that. That's what Wilder would do from time to time. This is more about that idea of a one-hitter quitter. The idea that he can be losing every second of every round and then suddenly land one and just put someone's lights out or end the fight, do enough to get a count. And that's what we've got. We've got a 2025 Deontay Wilder here in Fabio Wardley. He is that guy. He's got a 95% knockout rate. And the Justice Hooney fight showed that, because Justice Hooney was outboxing him and he just got caught. And that's what happens with Fabio Wardley. It's much like that. It reminded me, that fight did, of Deontay Wilder against Luis Ortiz, the rematch, where Ortiz was outboxing him and everyone's thinking, what is going on here? Wilder hasn't done anything. He's just getting soundly outboxed. And then he just lands it. And then that's it. So I guess the question is, can he land it against Joseph Parker? Because Joseph Parker has a habit of diffusing power punches. Joseph Parker was the first man to take Anthony Joshua the distance. Anthony Joshua was knocking everyone out. He couldn't knock out Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker diffused him, still lost the fight. It wasn't a great fight, but He diffused him. Joseph Parker diffused Deontay Wilder, and at that point, December 2023, when they met, it's not like Wilder was done. He was still considered a top 5 heavyweight. It was just sort of coming off the trilogy with Tyson Fury. It was still widely believed that Wilder would be going in there, getting rid of Joseph Parker, Anthony Joshua boxing Wallin on the same show, and then they were going to do a face-off afterwards and go on and have a fight. That was the whole idea there. Didn't happen because Joe Parker diffuses power punches. That's what we get with him. And by the way, he can pop himself too. Go and ask Martin Bakole how well Joe Parker can punch. We saw him get rid of him in a couple of rounds. I know. Wasn't the best Martin Bakole. We know that. He came, he was a big man. Let's say that. But Joe Parker was also a big man. I think he was a career heavy of like 267 pounds in there. But regardless, he can punch too. And both men are one punch away from world title glory. Joe Parker, it feels like the public have collectively got behind him to say, you are the man, Joe. We want you to fight Oleksandr Usyk. People feel he is the most worthy challenger because of the run of beating Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang and Martin Bakole. These are all top heavyweights. Because he beat them 3, he seems like the guy. But Usyk's injured. So Usyk's injured. Joe Parker should have got his shot, but Joe Parker still wants to fight. He could have waited, but he wants to fight. And the guy that he's chosen is a guy who could switch his lights out. So it's a brilliant, fascinating fight, and can't wait for it. Let's talk a little bit about the undercard. For me, there's stories on there that I'm intrigued by. Louis Edmondson, Ezra Taylor. I like this fight a lot. Now, these are two fellas who just don't like each other. And I hosted a face-off between them, a gloves are off type thing. We call it locked in when I do it at Queensberry. Very, very easy work for me. I mean, I probably asked about 4 questions and that was it. 4 questions, then maybe, do you want to shake hands at the end? And they were just 20 minutes just going at it, slagging each other off, calling each other names. It was chef's kiss. It was perfect. I loved it. I love all that sort of stuff. I know, people like the respectful as well, and that gets hyped up. Oh, look at the respect. Look at the respect between these guys. They don't need to, throw tables to sell fights. Yeah, but it was quite cool though when that happens. In my opinion. So with Louis Edmondson and Ezra Taylor, they have been talking the talk big time. They have been facing off probably too many times. We've had Louis Edmondson ringside for Ezra Taylor fights, Ezra Taylor ringside for Louis Edmondson fights. By and large, they'd be going at the end, don't be like that against me, I'll beat you. Or if you're like that against me, I'll beat you. It's just that kind of thing over and over again. And now finally we're heading into fight week where we're going to get the answer. And there's going to be egg on the face of the loser here because they've talked it up, really, really talked it up. So for me, fascinating fight on their British and Commonwealth light heavyweight titles on the line. Let's talk about Jürgen Ulderdij. Now, he's in action. He takes on Rolly Lambert for the IBO Cruiserweight title. Rolly Lambert is a name you've probably heard before. Well, if you're watching this, you've definitely heard of him, but probably most notably known as when Tommy Fury was fighting in Dubai and he lost his opponent. There was some sort of discrepancy over weight. Something happened. What happened was Rolly Lambert stepped in a few sort of hours' notice and they had an exhibition. So you'll probably remember that fight, and you'll probably remember that after the fight, John Fury ripped his top off and was sort of shouting at Jake Paul ringside. Jake Paul was on commentary. So that was Rolly Lambert in that kind of scenario, but that was just an exhibition. That was just a move about with Tommy. This will not be a move about. This will be a proper fight against Jürgen Ulderdij. So Ulderdij is this Albanian cruiserweight who's come along. He's got a good record. He's only lost once. He's a big hitter. He knocked out Stephen Ward a couple of years back. He's quite a character. And I went to see him at Don Charles Gym yesterday, and we had a good chat. And he's got a seriousness about him. Asked him about a potential future fight with Alois Jr. And the way he responded was like, I said to him, have you heard the noise about Alois? He's coming through. He was like, yes, I've heard the noise. I was like, oh, okay, let's dig a little bit more. So, do you believe the noise, Jurgen? He was like, we will see. He's just got that kind of menace about him. And we know Albanian fans get behind their fighters. So he's done a ton of tickets for this O2 show next Saturday. And I'm looking forward to this fight. The other one that has really caught my eye, obviously, there's Royston Barney-Smith against Danny Quartermain. Brilliant fight at super featherweight. Royston step up. Can he do it against this level of opponent? Two unbeaten guys in there. I'm fascinated by that fight. But the one that's got me really thinking and intrigued, and I don't know, it's got me. It's Mitchell Smith. It's Mitchell Smith against Arnie Dawson. Now, Mitchell Smith, you'll probably all remember that in 2015 he won Young Boxer of the Year with the Boxing Writers. Now that is a prestigious award. Guys that have won that have gone on by and large to become world champions, or certainly go on to become big names in the sport. You're looking at guys like Naz, you're looking at guys like Ricky Hatton, you're looking at guys like Daniel Dubois. He was in great company, and he was the boy. It was 2015. He was like 22 years old, and he was smashing it. There was one fight in particular where he took on a guy called Dennis Turbion. I think his name was Dennis Turbion. That Dennis fella had taken Josh Warrington the distance, and then Mitchell Smith fought him and got him out of there in a round. And everyone was like, "He's pretty good, isn't he?" And he was an ABA champion as well before that, so he had all the talent in the world. But sometimes too much success can be too much too soon for a young man. And he was an example of that. He didn't live the life. He got carried away with the kind of rising fame, the lifestyle, maybe the purses he was getting at the time. He was just working his way up, and it all just sort of come to him, and he lost his way. And I'm talking properly lost his way, like drugs, alcohol, jail, all of that kind of stuff, right? But he's got himself back on track, and we like that. We like a redemption story in boxing, and this Mitchell Smith redemption story could be something very, very special if he continues this trajectory. He's back in the ring now. He's getting a little bit of activity. He's just been working his way back on the small halls, but this is the chance, really. This is on a huge card on DAZN against an unbeaten opponent in Arnie Dawson. WBO European title on the line at lightweight. He won that title like 10, 11 years ago at super featherweight. So it's a kind of, it's all or nothing in the main event. That's what All or Nothing is all about. Joe Parker, Fabio Wardley. But it's also all or nothing for a number of fighters on the undercard, including Mitchell Smith. He loses this, you can forget about it, all this comeback talk, in my opinion anyway. But if he wins this, he can start looking around, he can start beating his chest and saying, yeah, I'm the WBO European lightweight champion, and I feel like I'm better than all these fellas out there. Because when he was coming through, he was something very, very special. Just lost his way, took a defeat in late 2015 to a guy he shouldn't have lost against in George Jupp, and that's where it all spiralled out of control. So looking forward to that fight, all part of the Wardley Parker show. What do you think, by the way? On the main event, what do you think here? Will Fabio Wardley win? Is he going to land that shot? Can he even land that shot against Parker? Is there another route to victory for him? Can he win it on points? Or is Joe Parker just too seasoned, too many levels between them? It's the step up is very much for Fabio Wardley here. Here's the guy who's going from Justice Hooney to Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, if you take Tyson Fury as retired, Joseph Parker's the number 2 heavyweight in the world behind Oleksandr Usyk. If you take Tyson Fury as active and coming back, then he's certainly top 3. So that is the level of the step up here for Fabio Wardley. Just another note, I was watching the DAZN show last night. George Liddard, big congrats, becomes British middleweight champion. I want to see that lad take on the bad man, Aston Brown. Aston Brown, 9-0 now, was in action a couple of weeks ago against Paul Keane, became the Celtic champion. Before that, he took on Rhys Porter. He became the Scottish champion. These are both knockout wins. He's on a streak of like 4 or 5 knockouts in a row. He hits very, very hard. He's 34 years old, so he's a man who's a little bit in a rush. But again, he's one of these stories where years ago, he come through Team GB with AJ, with Josh Taylor, all of these guys, Joe Cordina. He come through with them and he lost his way, but he's now finding his way back. So I'd love to see George Liddard against Aston Brown for the British middleweight title. I think that's a brilliant scrap. And fair play George Liddard, by the way. That was a great win over Kieran Conway. Okay, I think that's me. I think that's video 1 all done. I quite enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. And maybe next time I'll have like a bit of a structure as to what I'm going to talk about. But I've just sort of shot off the top of my head stuff that that I'm looking forward to. And it's Parker Wardley. It's coming up. 7 days to go because I've done this on Saturday. So yeah, if you liked it, get involved. I'll see you next time.